Hello and welcome to With Both Eyes Closed. This is the prologue of the visual novel. I don't really know when it came out. I was following it, so I knew that it was going to be coming out. I just don't know when it actually came out. Um, yeah, I don't really know much about it. I do know that it does have uh, some risky topics that it's going to explore. Uh, if you know risky topics, then you know what I mean. But if you want to know more or less what I mean, then let's put it this way. Think of a visual novel that happens to have a van where bad things happen. Just, you know, think of that visual novel. Anyways, but yeah, I don't really know much about the characters, but I think the protagonist is a little raccoon dude in the middle. And I believe that both of these, the bear and the fox, are their friend. And I believe that the fox and the bear used to date. So yeah, that's about as much as I know. Anywho, so without further ado, let us begin with both eyes closed. Is that really what you're wearing? I snapped to consciousness to a searing red in my eye. At first, I'm not really sure what's going on, but I quickly realized that in the time that I hadn't slept, the sun had moved just enough to beam onto my left eye. I rolled my head to the right, now resting on my shoulder, trying to reject consciousness. I can tell that this won't last long. I'm already feeling prickling of annoyance, but holding onto my half-awake trance is euphoric. The car smells amazing right now. Is that really what you are wearing? I slouched to the right, expecting a seatbelt to catch me, but to my surprise, I fall right through. Right, I'm in the back. I'm able to catch myself by jutting out my elbow against the plush seat, stilting myself up on my forearm. One of the compromises that we had to make when we decided to bring Isa with us was that one of us was going to have to sit in the back. Since the chairs are down to accommodate all the camping gear, the seat buckle is completely inaccessible. Isa gets carsick when she's not in the front, and Cole doesn't trust anyone else to drive his van. Frankly, I wouldn't trust myself either, even if I could. I don't really mind anyways. I plan to prop myself up against the wall and sleep through most of the drive regardless of where I was sitting. Speaking of, what time is it? I fish my phone out from my sweater pocket and force my eyes open just a sliver. I'm glad it turns on. I wasn't sure the battery was going to last. It's just past 2 p.m. Dude, after tolerating Canadian winters, I'll be fine even if it was gonna be cold. It's not like I have many other options anyways. I let the tension in my arm give and slowly slide down until I'm laying on my side. I'm just out of the sun here. I consider going back to sleep before deciding to just rest my eyes, fully aware of the game that I'm playing. It's not like I need to be awake by a certain time. I just hope that I at least partially preserve my sleep schedule, even with this midday nap. So, you would buy actual pants if we stopped? Huh, no. I'm awake just enough to smirk at a response. I can't see either of them, but I know that Cole is giving her the look. He usually gives it to me when I'm being contrary. It's a sort of smile mixed with side eye. It's his way of saying, seriously? Sometimes I struggle to figure out what Cole's expressions mean, but I have never failed to understand this one. I don't hear either of them say anything for a moment. Oh, come on, Cole. When have I ever dressed appropriately for an occasion? I didn't even wear the right gown for our graduation. I remember, the dean almost kicked you out of the building. He was furious. I have a knack for that. Those ropes were dirty anyways. We spent months fighting to get them replaced. You know, those same rags have been used for the past 30 years, right? Is Gertie even a word? I don't know if I'd call you and Stella's, what did you call it? Directed complaining? Fighting. I think it just annoyed everyone who had to hear it all the time. It was subliminal messaging, and it would have worked if all of our teachers weren't half deaf. Before she finished speaking, I hear the distinct sound of plastic scraping on plastic. This jolts me awake. Hey! Both of them jump a bit, clearly unaware that I had woken up. You got food without me! I try to decipher the brand from the plastic cup Isa is toying with, but the sun is debilitating, one of the unfortunate side effects of being a nocturnal mammal. I am able to see the outline of the cup, the inside glowing with light barely able to pass through the thin plastic. She has a paw covering the logo and her other paw is on the straw. She must have made that scratching sound while adjusting her straw. Max, don't worry, I got you something. I see the bear's silhouette reach back to me holding a bag. I grab it by the corner and pull it into my lap. I don't have the forethought to double check the brand before diving in, but I have a pretty good picture of what I'm getting into from the smell. I figured out Cole had gotten me something greasy long before I opened the cardstock box. The sun is still blinding, but I can see clearly into the bag. It's a chicken sandwich, the only kind of meat that I'll eat willingly. The patty is round like a burger, with a lightly tossed golden bun. From the outside I can see that it has all the usual toppings except for onions. I hate onions. You suck, dude. Based on its appearance, I'm pretty sure it's from Patsy's, Isa's favorite fast food chain. Apparently it used to be a high-end restaurant on the East Coast, but now it's basically everywhere. There's one just a few blocks off of campus. Cole and I eat there often. I start pulling everything apart in the container, separating the tomato, pickle, lettuce into neat piles. I hold the chicken patty in my mouth, careful not to let it touch my tongue. The buns lay with their beige, spongy inside directed up towards me, smeared with some kind of sauce. I didn't get a water dish since I wasn't sure how long that you were going to sleep for, and I didn't want to make a mess, sorry. I wipe the sauce into a napkin and use another to soak up the remaining glaze. It's alright. I would say more, but I'm preoccupied with shoveling the shredded lettuce into my mouth, losing a few pieces on the way up. Why don't you just get the tenders if you're going to pull everything apart anyways? They want all the extra stuff. They just don't want to eat it all together. I'm barely able to agree as my mouth is miraculously able to fit both sandwich buns at once. A few crumbs go flying out, propelled by the force of my voice. Girl, you need to slow down. They never ate stuff like that back in Montreal, though. It seems like Isa is talking to Cole more so than me. Can't blame her since I'm still gnawing down newly socked bread. I still force myself to swallow so that I can respond before Cole beats me to it. Not that I really mind. They don't have American burgers in Montreal. I also usually didn't have the money to pay for food in Montreal. Clearly. Cole shoots her a glare. At first I can't tell why, but based on the now guilty expression, I realize what she was referring to. I try to avoid giving it too much thought. It wasn't really her intention. Not that you look bad or... Just stop talking. I feel a bead of guilt in my throat. It didn't really bother me, so I didn't want to make a point out of it. I'm used to seeing Isa get told off, and she bounces back fast. She won't take it personally. The conversation stalls for a bit, but I really don't want it to die. Cole will turn up his awful music if we stop talking. Wait, hold on. Isa, you wore the wrong graduation robes on purpose? You told me that you mixed in with the wrong laundry and had to buy a new one. At this point, the only part of the sandwich left is a chicken patty, but I'd like to save that for last. I reach into the bag and pull out a cup of fries. It's clearly already been picked through by Cole. That was true. Me and Stella tried dyeing ours by putting it in with all of our blue shirts and jeans. The robes were so old that they practically disintegrated in the machine. It was like pulling out a spool of yarn. It sounds dumb, but either it worked and we got actually blue robes, or it failed and we had an excuse to buy new ones. Technically, she wasn't lying, though it wasn't really the truth either. The most baffling part of the story isn't even their half-baked plan. Actually, that's not really surprising at all considering it's Isa. In the time that I've known her, she's consistently crafted some of the worst thought-out ideas that I've ever heard. How did that even happen? You were dating Cole at the time, right? I look at Cole through the rearview mirror. His eyes dart away from mine as soon as they meet. I can tell that he's far more embarrassed by the story than Isa is embarrassed at all. I was totally greening out. This happened right after Isa had gotten me to try smoking. I didn't know my limits. It felt like I was rolling down a mountain while I was laying on the floor. And Isa was also high? Obviously. I have to wonder if this was just weed or something else. This was when she was still close with Stella, apparently. I come to the sudden realization that I have no idea where we are right now. We were stuck in traffic when I fell asleep, and I don't know when we got out. It could be another hour of driving or just a few more minutes. I poke my head up into the now tolerable sun and peek out the window. Pine trees. I'm not sure what I expected. The edge of the forest towers over us with great indifference. Their needles choke out the sun, filtering it into thin rays of light that sprawl across the dirt and grass. It reminds me of a certain word. Komorabi? I think it was. As my eyes pore over the pines slipping by, they begin to blend into a sea that drowns the countryside in green. Colt's van drives on and the trees encroach ever closer. They creep in until I can hear the low, hanging branches scrape against the car. As we cross over into the dim throat of the woods, the sun's encompassing rays retreat into the sky. I didn't think that I would miss them, but I change my mind as the shadows stretch further, as if seeping through the windows. I watch the last glittering remnants of sunlight fade from view as we take a turn. Isa and Cole's banter is the only thing keeping my focus off the jagged pines that silently observe me, now on both sides. I've spent most of my life in crowded cities. It's taken time to adjust to such a spread out place. And transitioning to this vacant, sweeping forest is even more jarring. Just the thought that the nearest person could be more than a 15-minute drive away is alien to me. I remember Cole raving about how isolated the camping grounds were, how they weren't even officially camping grounds. Don't get me wrong, it's undeniably exhilarating. Even I have to admit that the prospect of a true, unaltered camping experience is a gem amongst the rocks. I really want to get some pictures of the mountains. Well, we're going to go hike up to the nearest mountain north. You might be able to get some pictures there. I would wait until you can get a good starry sky. I'm just barely able to catch a few lines of Isa and Cole's chatting. It reminds me of what I've been looking forward to more than anything, an untainted night sky. Cole told me that at this time of the year, our arm of the Milky Way is lined up with the Earth. He explained it to me as the sky being split into two. I've never really seen stars before. There was one major power outage in Montreal, but even then I was barely able to make out Orion's belt. The power outage, I can't help but thinking about the dark. Back in the city there were people everywhere, but out here it's just us, and as excited as I am, the atmosphere here is a bit unsettling. I do my best to hide my unease, which is starting to inch back in. I know that if Cole got the hint that I was uncomfortable, he'd be tearing himself apart the entire trip trying to make sure that I was happy. He's been talking about going camping since we met, and I really want this to go well for him. His dad used to take him every year, but it's been a while since that was possible. He really deserves a win right now. Isa and Cole have continued to chat while I studied the landscape, but I haven't been able to track their conversation. The scratching of the branches on the hull of the van is almost deafening. I can tell that it's not nearly as loud as it feels, but it's bad enough that I lose my appetite just as I finish my fries. I can eat the chicken patty later. Are we, going to stop soon? We're about 15 minutes away. Do you need to go to the bathroom? We can stop. I can feel the car slow down before I am able to reply. No, I'm fine. Just curious. You sure? I mean, seriously, it's not a... Cole? There is a certain frustration in Isa's tone that catches me off guard. Alright, just checking. Cole accelerates again, causing the scraping to resume. I almost regret telling him to keep driving, but as long as I distract myself, it's not unbearable. I turn myself around on all fours and reach into the mess of bags and boxes, almost loose items being held in place by sporadically placed bungee cords. I should have headphones somewhere back here. I pull out a beat-up cardboard box from under one of the bands and hold it aside while I dig deeper. If I remember correctly, my box should... As I'm on my knees facing the back, maw-deep in luggage, balancing the box in my paw like a waiter, the car suddenly lurches upwards. I instinctively sink the claws of my free hand into the polyester car seat. My head slams into the roof of the car. I imagine the subdued thud of my skull against the ceiling, but it's overwhelmed by the tremors of the vehicle. I exclaim before the pain even sets in, but I can tell it's coming. The force of gravity tears my claws along Cole's car seat. Only my middle finger catches, so it could be worse, but I'm definitely going to feel bad about that for a while. Finally, the box I was holding flies forward and falls behind the furthest stack of luggage. I can hear the rattle of plastic and glass against each other. I really hope that I didn't break anything. As I look out the back, I can just barely make out something dark and spindly on the dirt road. Sorry, I think I hit a root. Definitely a root. You alright? That sounded like you hit yourself pretty hard. Yeah, I'm okay. Uh, I say that as a dull, throbbing pulsates through my head. This is going to bother me all day, isn't it? I can see Isa struggling to hold back her cackle. I mean, seriously, I can see it. She's writhing in place, like the laugh is only happening on her insides. It was the sound, wasn't it? Half the reason that I ask is because I'm worried that she's going to burst a blood vessel trying to contain herself. Fucking yes, it was a sound. She barely is able to say that before she starts her familiar half laugh, half cry. I snicker at myself even though I don't think that it's that funny. Actually, it's really starting to hurt now. I can tell that I'm going to get a dreadful headache later. Even Cole is smiling a bit. Dude, you sounded hollow. She's catching her breath before words, still crowing while she talks. Honestly, I didn't even hear it. I was too worried about not dropping shit. I completely threw one of the boxes in the back, by the way. It's fine. Just pick it up later. I hadn't even realized that the sound of the branches grating against the roof had stopped while Isa was laughing. Don't worry about it. Which box was it? I turn back around to check and it quickly becomes clear that I can't get to where the box fell without rearranging the entire pile. Whichever was on top of my stuff, it was right next to Isa's camera. I try fishing my hand around the back to see if I can catch an open flap or something, but I'm totally fruitless. It's way further than I can get to. Oh, that's all plastic. Should be fine. I turn to face forward again and catch sparkling outside the window as I'm moving. Between the trunks of fast-moving trees, my eyes fall upon skipping diamonds reflecting of the sunlight on a stream cascading through the woods. The water burbles brightly compared to the apathy of the surrounding trees. Whoa, look at that river. My face is awkwardly pressed against the glass for a better view. We start turning around under the corner, but the river chases the bend of the road for a little longer. Isa unbuckles her seatbelt and climbs halfway into the back with me. We're both staring out the window in awe. I know, it's beautiful, right? I can hear the smile in his voice. Ooh, I need a picture of this. Isa's practically crawling over me, twisting while trying to get her camera. I scoot out of her way while she fumbles into place. It's a pastel pink box with rounded edges. From what I can tell, it's a modern Polaroid camera and it looks like it might be the expensive kind too. Come on. She's straining to keep herself in place. Her elbows are planted firmly into the seat while she brings the box to her eye. The river is barely in sight by the time that she steadies it enough to take the picture. The camera makes that distinct clicking sound I love so much. Aw, I think I just missed it. The camera pushes out a black square of paper rimmed in white with a shiny plastic covering. As soon as she removes it from the dispenser, Isa starts violently flapping it in the air. You'll have another chance to get a picture on the way back. I mean, we'll probably end up seeing it on a hike or something too. With that, she seems content and moves back into her seat. She shurikens the photo onto the car's dashboard. We keep driving in silence for a few more minutes. I mostly just soak up the environment around me. Our stop is just up here. I can see a small opening just off the road. It really is just some random clearing. Wait, that's it? Yup, like I said, not an official camping ground. Cole slows down as we just pass the opening. We aren't going to, get in trouble for being here, right? We start reversing. Cole's cutting it really close to some of the trees next to us. It's making me a little nervous, but I trust that he knows what he's doing. Barely anyone comes down the road. We'll be lucky to see another car at all. He turns halfway around while reversing the car and looks right past me. I can feel my ears becoming hot when I shrink into my seat. I'm sure that he notices because he cracks a subtle smile. Ugh, finally. The car slows to a stop and eases out the door before I even have a chance to move. I slide myself along the seat and towards the right side door. With some effort, it slides open and I hop down. And that was the prologue of With Both Eyes Closed. Hmm. So we got, I guess, like a little peek at their dynamic, in a way. We know that Issa and Cole had a history. Apparently, Max and Cole maybe have something going on, which I'm assuming Issa is okay with. I'm not sure if it's Issa or Isa. I'm just gonna go with Issa. I kind of imagine that perhaps Max may have some form of the tism if he doesn't like, or well, if he didn't like the sound of like the branches, rubbing up against the car or van, I guess. Maybe he has some sort of sensory issues. Maybe. Because like even me, sometimes I like to have headphones when I'm in the car, and I'm the passenger because obviously you can't wear headphones when you're driving. But yeah, I'm curious to see where this story is gonna go, because like I said, actually let me pull it up if I can. Let me see. Hold on, I'll pull it up. Come on, itch. Load faster. Load faster. Well, yeah, this is a prologue, and with both eyes closed, studies themes of trauma management, pressures on an artist to broadcast their lives to the audience, and dynamics of guilt, anxiety, and love. So, yeah. There's going to be some trauma, or talking about trauma that they, I'm assuming, had, and some general, well, interpersonal stuff, maybe personal stuff, and dynamics of guilt and anxiety and love. Okay. I'm not sure where the guilt part's gonna come from, but we'll see when the story progresses. Anywho, so what are your thoughts? Do you think that this is a story worth looking into? Because, like I said, this is the prologue and it literally came out a day ago, actually. Well, a day ago, which would be on Halloween, October the 31st. So yeah. Anywho, so yeah, write down in the comments what you think, and thank you all for watching/listening. If you would like to play with both eyes closed, you can do so by going down into the link in the description for their Twitter page, which, you can see right here on the right. And it should have a direct link to their itch.io page where you can download it. And I can see that they do have a Patreon, which I will be linking down into the description as well. And I'm assuming that gets you early access to stuff, etc., etc. The usual with most visual novels. And also my coffee down in the description in case you want to donate to me. And, channel memberships. For the people that are viewing this first, obviously it's because you are channel members. Well, you're channel members of the tier 2 kind, the Yin friends. Everyone else has to wait. But yeah. What else? Obviously, names right here. These are the current channel members as of November the 1st. And I really, really appreciate it. I don't know that I would be going out of my way to be reading new visual novels or reading videos, or not reading it, just making these videos if it wasn't for you guys. But yeah, so I probably will be making just like the introduction for the channel members. That way I don't have to keep telling you guys that, you'll get a little badge by your name if you're a channel member that changes color depending on how many months you've been a channel member. And you can use a little emoji sticker thingies, down there. But yeah. Anywho, so I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.